everybody, it's Michelle, and I've been so anxious to get into some card making, so that's what we're going to do today. I've got an A2 size card base here that I made with black cardstock, and for those of you who don't know, if you're new to card making like me, an A2 size is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and you get that just by simply cutting a regular 8 1/2 by 11 sheet of cardstock in half, so you can get 2 full cards out of every one. They are kind of small. These seem to be the most popular size that I see a lot of other card makers using, but I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. It seems a little small, so we'll see as we go along. So I have the A2 base with black cardstock, and I have a mat inside which will be for my sentiments, and that is just for a 1/8 inch border all around. I made it a 1/4 inch smaller in both directions, so it's 4 by 5 1/4 for our sentiment inside. So we're going to do another 4 by 5 1/4 layer for the outside on the front. So I had a really cute idea for that. I don't know about you guys, but I really love coloring, and I found this coloring book at Walmart. It is the Garden Wonders Color Art, and the reason I chose this was it has some really good background images in there, and I thought those busy background designs would be perfect for a card like that. And I have a page marked. There we go. This is the one that I'm going to be using today. And the reason I chose that was because my main feature that I decided to do on this card was from something I found where I had been coloring in this book here that I had gotten at Joann's. And that's the Animal Kingdom coloring book. And I was flipping through that, and I'll show you the page that I had marked here. I had just been playing around with the coloring, and I love butterflies, and I was coloring on this page here, and I had just colored the one butterfly. And when I came across that, I thought I want to use that on my card. So I chose this background with all the florals and everything because I thought that would be a good place for my butterfly to live. So the first thing we're going to do is cut our 4 by 5 1/4 mat from this page here. So here is that 4 by 5 1/4, and that will be the perfect mat on there on our card front. I really love that. Okay, and then the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take the one butterfly here that I had colored, and I'm going to cut that out. I'm going to try to leave as much of the images around it intact as possible, and leave the page in the book in case I want to use some of those images for some more card making later on. And I'm not going to worry about the antenna because those are so fine that would be hard to cut out. So we'll create some new antenna out of something else. Okay, so I'm just going to cut as best I can right to the line on my butterfly image. Okay, so there we have our butterfly all cut out, and it's no mystery why they call that fussy cutting, huh? That can get pretty tedious, but I really think that's worth it, just to have that butterfly to stand out from that. But as you can see when we lay it on there, it doesn't quite stand out enough. I kind of want to put a little border around it, and I thought about maybe going along the edge there with a black Sharpie or something just to give it a black edge, but the paper is so thin. I tested that on a sheet of the paper in that same coloring book, and the paper is so thin that the Sharpie just kind of bled and made a large blurry line, and I didn't want that. So what we're going to do is we're going to glue it onto black cardstock and then fussy cut again and just give a little bit of a black border that we're going to leave on that. So I'm going to turn that face down and coat the back of it with glue stick. Here I'm just using the Elmer's Craft Bond, but you can use whatever glue stick you like. But I do like to use the glue stick for this so that I can make sure to cover every last bit of the surface of that. So I'm just going to lay that down on my black cardstock. Make sure to press all the edges. And I already love that. Those colors just look so much more vibrant on a black background. So I'm going to fussy cut around again, leaving just the slightest little black edge. Just enough to make my butterfly stand out. So there is our butterfly cut out again, and as you can see, it's just the slightest little bit of that black border that I've left. But look how good that makes it pop against that background. I really love that. Okay, and for the new antenna, I'm going to be using black beading wire. And you guys know that I kind of bring in my beading materials into every craft project. I don't know what it is, but I love my beading supplies. So I'm going to take my wire cutters. First I'm going to trim off that little kinked up part right there so that I'm working with straight wire, and I'm going to cut off about 3 inches. So about right there. And then I'm just going to bend this in half. I'm going to take the flat part of my pliers here and pinch that as tightly together as I can. And we'll just kind of size it up here. So about here, This is where the top of his head will be. And just give that a little bit of a twist. And then I'm just going to take my round nose tip there and give him a little bit of a curl at the very tip. That'll make sure that we don't have any sharp ends sticking out, and I think it makes it cute too. And then I'll just put a little bit of curve on those with my fingers. And I want to glue that to the back side of my butterfly. And for that I want to use my Loctite super glue and the gel control. I love the gel control. I'm going to put some glue right there. Just hold that down for a few seconds into that glue. And we'll set that aside to dry a little bit while we work on our sentiment. I think first of all I will go ahead and stamp my sentiment inside, so then I can just close that up while we work on our front after everything is dry. I've got my acrylic block and I'm going to be using some stamps here, and this is my set of sentiment stamps. This is by Hero Arts. I'm not sure what the name of the set was called. I think it was called Celebrate Every Day, but I will make sure and I will include it in the description below, and I'll leave a link to where I got this at. And I think Celebrate Every Day is the sentiment that I'm going to use. I don't have a huge selection of sentiments just yet, but I'm working on it. I'm still building up my stock, and I have this little set here. Again, I'm not sure what it's called. It's by Hot Off the Press ink, and I will find the name of this set too to leave for you all. So I think I'm going to use this little butterfly here to go along with my sentiment to kind of tie in our butterfly design from the front. So I'm going to line these up the way I want them. I want my sentiment there with my little butterfly fluttering right at the corner of my sentiment there. And then I can just pick them both up together with my acrylic block. And I'm going to stamp that in black. I'm using the Memento Tuxedo Black. And I'll just ink that up. And see where I want to place it. I think I want it kind of toward the top, but not really high up. I think that is beautiful. I love that. So be sure to clean my stamps here with a baby wipe. Make sure I don't leave any ink on those. So that's our sentiment inside, and that leaves plenty of room down below to put a handwritten note or your signature or whatever you want to add in there. and we can work on our front. And I think I want to put my sentiment for the front on this little scrap of sort of cloudy pink paper that I found. And I think I'm going to use my Jar of Fun stamp set here from Maymay Made It. And I like these larger sentiments here, and I'm going to use Hello Friend. And I'll leave a link to those as well. I think I'm just going to kind of put these a little offset and wonky. Sometimes I like the wonky look. So I'm just going to place them the way I want them. And then I can pick them up in just that arrangement with my acrylic block. And again, I'm going to use my Tuxedo Black Memento ink. Ink it up really good. And just stamp that on there. Whoops, it's not inked up really good. And then I think I'll just cut that out just in a shape sort of around the words. And our butterfly is almost dry, but I think we're going to go ahead and put him on our card front. But I'm going to pop him up on some foam tape to give him even more dimension. And I think if I do that, I can just go right across where our antenna is, and that'll help pop him up on our card, and it will also help hold that antenna down while it finishes drying. So I'm going to cut some more here. It's a little too big. I'm going to go ahead and peel that backing off of all of those. But what I want to do is on these, on the corners of the wings, I want to add another layer of foam to make them pop up a little higher. peel that backing off again. Okay, so before I stick him on, I'm going to go ahead and get my mat down on my card. And I'm just going to stick that down with my adhesive runner here of the Aztec Crafter's tape. And just run that along right up to the edge. So we know that that'll stick really well. And then just center that. Not exactly centered, but that Aztec Crafter's tape is really sticky, so be sure of your placement before you put that on there for sure. I would have liked to have centered that a little better. And then I think I'm going to put my sentiment at the top. And then my butterfly. Kind of give him a little bit of a bend. I really like the dimension on that. I think that is so cute. But we're not done. I'm going to take my Wink of Stella brush pen. I don't know if you all can see that on camera. But I love that. I think I'm going to make the whole butterfly sparkle. I really like the look of the butterfly just popping up with dimension and color and sparkle as the only element on the card to really stand out on a very neutral and plain background. I really, really like that. That is so pretty. And I might try to just make the words sparkle. If you guys can see that. I really love this Wink of Stella pen. And I believe it came from Joann's as well when I made an online order. And I will leave the link to that too. It is the perfect way to add some sparkle without adding any dimension. I love it. And I'm going to take my pink colored pencil here, and it's just the Crayola colored pencils. I really like colored pencils, and I like the versatility with them. I'm just going to kind of shade in a little bit of a border around my little sentiment frame here. And you all can use whatever you like to color with. If it's Copic markers, which are just really not in my budget right now, but I hear they are great. Maybe if you wanted to do this before you adhered it onto the card, you could brush on some of the ink with a little sponge and just kind of go around the edges with that to darken it some. Just enough to give it a little shadowing around the edges. I really like colored pencils because you can change just by applying more or less pressure. You can get a darker or lighter look, or you can feather it out. I personally find them very easy to work with. So I think that's about it for this card. I really like that it's got that unfinished coloring book look, but that butterfly just really popping out and being the only element that really has dimension and color and sparkle. So like I said, I'm just getting started with the card making, and this is just a little idea that I wanted to try out and see how that would look. I think I'm really happy with that idea with the coloring book background. I really like that. So you guys be sure to let me know what you think about it. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Give me a like over on my Facebook page, and be sure to join our Facebook group, Craftie Minds. Follow me on Pinterest and Instagram. Don't forget to visit my blog, and I will have the links to all of those in the description also, so be sure to check those out. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.